Hello everyone, it's Christina from Our Wood Home. In today's video I'm going to be talking a little bit about our food stores that we're building up in our house, as well as talking about how we came to this idea and just generally my thoughts on food storage and long-term storage and preparedness and all that stuff. So if that sounds interesting to you, I hope that you continue watching. No doubt you've been seeing food shortages in grocery stores where you live. I admit I haven't really seen very many here in Ontario, Canada, but I did notice that a few stores were running low on things, and I'm not sure if that's just because it hadn't been restocked since I was at the store so early, or if it is indeed a sign of what everyone's been calling supply chain issues. Either way, pandemic or no pandemic, I think it's a good idea to have some amount of food ready in your home to eat in case there's an emergency situation or for some reason those items are not available as readily in stores. So we decided to make a food storage area because over the last few years we've really reduced the amount of grocery shopping trips we've taken due to social distancing and reduced store hours and all that kind of stuff. And we have a pretty good supply of a lot of things. I'm still working through a lot of beans and lentils and rice, which are all good staples, but we wanted to have more variety of things. Not necessarily treats and fun things, but we wanted food that would last a while on the shelf and could be eaten or prepared with minimal cooking, minimal preparation in case there's a power outage. We do have a wood stove which we use for cooking and boiling water if we need to. And we also have some propane stoves outside which we can use in the hot weather if there was an extended power outage. But we also wanted to have some things that maybe won't be as readily available in the next few months. Things such as cleaning supplies, medical supplies, pet supplies. So I spent a few weeks thinking about all the things that we usually buy or would benefit from having extra supplies or extra quantities of. I wrote that down and broke it into each month of the year. And what I'm going to do each month is just buy some of these extra things when I go grocery shopping. You might not think these are considered essential, but for our household, they're pretty well used or well enjoyed, and we'd like to continue keeping those things even if there's something that prevents us from being able to purchase them in the store later. I'm still trying to figure this out, this whole preparedness, prepper planning thing. As I said, we do have a lot of things that are shelf stable in our pantry right now, but we were thinking more long-term storage. I don't really know what we'll consider an emergency or an event that will warrant the use of this long-term food storage, but I guess we'll know when we get there. I'm also saying food storage, but this just applies to everything on the list. There's cleaning supplies, personal supplies, baking supplies, as you'll hear when I read through the list. So for January 2022, I've already bought tuna, pasta, and crackers. And I didn't buy an excess of these. If you saw my last grocery haul video, you've probably already seen those items. But it's enough that we could use that for a little while if we needed to. In February, I'll be buying extra vinegar, extra rice, and I'll be checking the discount racks at the grocery store for any fruit that we can dehydrate and keep for later. I'm choosing to buy fruit that can be dehydrated because it'll be a good snack in the future and it will keep longer and doesn't take up as much space as canning or freezing. In March, I'll be stocking up on lighters and matches. We need these for our wood stove. I'll also be buying extra toilet paper and household cleaners. So the toilet paper, I don't want to get into hoarding like some people were doing in 2020. And I will be candid and say, if there was ever a toilet paper shortage, we've got enough cloths that we could get by without flushable toilet paper, but that's something that we'd still like to have a little bit extra of just in case. And cleaners, I'm probably just going to get my usual disinfecting spray and toilet cleaner. I haven't really decided exactly what cleaners I'll consider essential for this list. I also want to add that some of these things may seem very random when they're grouped together for each month, and they kind of are. Some of them are less expensive paired with expensive items, or just random things I was thinking of and assigning a random month. So for April, I'll be buying extra toothpaste, extra brown sugar, any canning supplies that I'll need for the canning season, and soap flakes, because I like to make my own laundry detergent, and the ingredients used in that are pretty hard to find most of the time. I have found them online, but it's kind of expensive, so for April I will be dedicating an extra amount of money to be buying those extra supplies online. In May, we'll be buying some extra ear swabs, rubbing alcohol, a witch hazel, and bandages. The ear swabs aren't really a necessity. I mean, they're pretty readily available. I don't think I've ever seen a shortage, but I thought that might still be something that's good to have. The rubbing alcohol and bandages are going to be a first aid thing. And the witch hazel is also first aid, but mainly for our dog because we use it for her ears. In June, I'll be buying some extra tea, maybe some coffee, and some beef or chicken to dehydrate. Also, in my previous grocery video, I said we don't really eat a ton of meat, and that's because it's pretty expensive. But if I can find some that's on a really good sale, I think I'll buy it and have my husband cut it up nicely so that we can dehydrate that and have it as a good protein snack for us or as emergency food for our pets if need be. In July, I've dedicated that month for my husband to get any hunting stuff that he needs, and I will also be getting any wool that I need to make socks and hats for the upcoming winter. I know July is pretty far away from winter, but if you are a knitter or crocheter or do any type of craft like that, you know it takes time to get things made. So I want to have those supplies well before I need them. August is dedicated to buying some dried spices and herbs that I use to make my own seasoning mixes. Again, this isn't something that's essential. I could live without all of this if I had to, but if I have the funds, I may as well buy these while they're available. So I'll be buying the ingredients to make my chili seasoning as well as my pumpkin spice seasoning. In September, I wrote down food storage containers, borax, and washing soda. I don't remember if by food storage containers I meant individual small containers, what people usually call Tupperware, or if I meant large tote bins for keeping food. I don't know. I can't figure out which one it is, but I guess I'll figure it out later. The borax and washing soda are what I use in my laundry detergent, so I'm hoping to be able to buy those. As I said, it's been really hard to find all these things, so I've been using my old commercial detergent, which is fine. It does the job. I just like being able to make my own. In October, I'll be buying extra sugar and butter in anticipation of any Christmas baking, but also because it's just good to have. Everything so far is shelf stable, but obviously the butter will not be shelf stable. I know some people do can their butter to make it shelf stable. I'm not going to go through all that work. I think I'll just keep it in the freezer. We've got 4 freezer spaces available, so there's lots of room for a little bit of butter. In November, I'll be buying some frozen juice, Bactine brand antiseptic spray, and any medicines that we might need. So the frozen juice is just to have some extra juice. We don't really drink a lot of juice anyways, but I thought if I could find some pure orange juice or cranberry juice or something like that, it might be good to have in the freezer. Bactine spray is, I'm not sure if it's a brand that's really in the US or even outside of Ontario, but it's just a non-burning antiseptic spray. We actually used it for our chickens in the spring when they had some infection in their feet, but it's just good to have in general. And I've only seen it at a few stores, so I'm hoping I'll be able to buy a few extra. Medicine, I think I just meant any like Advil, pain reliever kind of things. And then for December 2022, some pet things. So there's these little biscuits that we give our dog when she's hurt her hip or if she's just very anxious, and it just calms her down, keeps her still so that she can rest. They're kind of expensive, so that's why I put that in as its own item for the whole month. Right now I'm shopping once a month, which is something I started doing in November. My camera died, so I'll have to use my phone to film the rest of this. I was saying that I made this list when I was still shopping twice a month, and now I'm down to once a month, but I think I'll still be able to get everything I need in each grocery trip, everything for each dedicated month. Right now we're planning to store all these items just in some plastic tote bins until we can have a more permanent storage system. We're thinking of just buying some freestanding shelf units from Home Depot because we've bought some from there before and they've held up really well. So I think we'll put that in the garage because it'll be a cool, dark area and it's up off the ground. Now, my only concern is making sure that mice and rodents can't get into anything. They have chewed through some boxes of food and bags of food in our pantry, so we'll just have to be super vigilant about that. And maybe I will store some things in the totes for a while, just to make sure we don't have any problems with any pests. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I'm curious to know if any of you are building or have already built some kind of stockpile. And I'd like to know specifically, what do you count as an event where you will be using that stockpile? Is it you just forgot to go to the grocery store? Will you consider a big winter storm cause for dipping into that supply? And also, how often do you replenish the supply? I think I asked this question on Instagram and one of my friends said she's constantly rotating her items, so she'll use it and then buy it to replace it. So I'm just curious to know, what do you do with your stockpile? I can let you know in a few months how our stockpile's looking and the kind of setup I've got for it. If that's something you're interested in, just let me know in the comments. I also invite you to take a look around at some of the other videos here on my channel, and if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great rest of your day.